Hey guys, so this week we're going to learn about solving equations. So last week we learned about what an equation is. And basically an equation has numbers, it has operations, and it has variables, and it has an equal sign. So I'm going to give you an example of what an equation is. It could be anything like x minus 6 equals 10. That's an equation. 12 equals y plus 2. That's an equation. R equals 10 plus x. That's an equation. This is a tough equation because it has two variables in it. All of the ones that we're going to be solving have just one. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to figure out what value of the variable will make this true. Let's pick a variable m. And let's say if I take my variable m and I add 2 to it, I get 22. So to solve this, I need to figure out what value of m, so what number could I put in the place of m so that when I add 2 to it, I get 22. So think about that for a second. What number that when you add 2 to it gives you a total of 22? I think it's 20. So that means your answer is m equals 20. Now, the good thing about solving equations is you can always check your answer. So if you go back and check your answer, you will be guaranteed to do really well because you have double checked to make sure your answer is right. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So remember from 2 weeks ago, I taught you how to substitute. So we're going to do that to check our work. So I'm going to take my original equation and I'm going to substitute my value for m in the place of m. So instead of writing m plus 2 equals 22, I'm going to write 20 plus 2 equals 22. And then you just check to make sure it's correct. Is 20 plus 2 equal to 22? Yes, it is. Check. So that's your answer. When we're writing our answers, we usually put the variable first and then we put the number, but you could also write it like this, 20 equals m. That's the neat thing about equal signs is you can flip what's on what side and it doesn't change anything. Let's do another one. Let's say that 16 equals r minus 5. So what this means is that whatever the value of r is, if I take away 5, I'm going to end up with 16. Okay, so this one's a little trickier to try and do in your head. Now, some of you extra smart cookies have already figured it out, and that is awesome. High five. Now, if you haven't figured it out already, you are still a smart cookie. I'm going to show you a trick, though. So we're going to use something called opposite operations. So opposite operations. So we're going to do the opposite operation. Remember, an operation is something like addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. So the operation in this equation is subtraction. So r subtract 5. So I'm going to do the opposite of that. The opposite of subtraction is addition. So I'm going to do plus 5, and I'm going to write it underneath. Now, since this is an equal sign, it's like a teeter-totter. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other, or else it's going to be off balance, and we want it to be perfectly balanced. So since I put a plus 5 on the right side, I have to put a plus 5 on the left side as well, and I'm going to put it underneath. 16 plus 5 is 21. I keep my equal sign. I keep my r. Now, this minus 5 and the plus 5 do something called cancel each other out. So think of it this way. If I give you 5 pencils and then immediately I take those 5 pencils away, how many pencils do you have? 0, right? You have the same amount that you started with, no pencils. So that's the idea here, is that they cancel each other out. So to show that they cancel each other out, we just draw an X through it. And then that's your answer, 21 equals R. Now you could write this the opposite way as well. You could write R equals 21. But remember the trick I taught you about checking your answer. So let's do that. So my original equation was 16 equals R minus 5. So I'm going to substitute 21 in for R and make sure that my answer is right. So I'm going to do 16 equals 21 instead of R minus 5. What is 21 minus 5? 16. So my answer is right. Let's do one more. What variable do I want to pick? What letter? Let's do W. That's a fun letter. So I'll say W plus 11 equals 39. So you might be able to do this one in your head. You might think, I know what number that if I add 11 to it gives me 39. You might not get it right away though, so we're going to do opposite operations. So the operation happening in this equation is addition. The opposite of addition is subtraction. So underneath this, I'm going to write subtract 11. Now, teeter-totter, I want it to be even. So on the right side, I'm going to do subtract 11 as well. Now my W stays. Plus 11, minus 11. Those cancel. Like if I give you 11 Mike and Ike candies and then I take 11 Mike and Ike candies away from you, you don't have any Mike and Ike candies. They cancel out. Then equal 39 minus 11, that gives you 28. So your answer is W equals 28. Now let's check it. Our original equation was W plus 11 equals 39. So I'm going to substitute 28 into the place of W. So I'm going to write 28 plus 11 equals 39. Is that true? Yes. All right, thanks for watching. Go to the next slide.